It doesn't start with gunfire or chaos. It starts with a strangely calm and terrifying conversation. It's 1968, a talk show. Two epidemiologists are discussing an unlikely threat, fungi that one day could infect humans. Science is clear. Right now, the human body is too warm for fungi like cordyceps to survive. But what if the planet heated up? The fungus would need to evolve. And in doing so, it might learn to hijack the human brain, just like it does with insects, turning people into puppets with no free will. Cut to 2003, Austin, Texas. Life feels normal, or at least close enough. Joel Miller, a hardworking single dad, lives with his teenage daughter, Sarah. It's Joel's birthday, and their bond is pure love. She even fixes his broken watch as a gift. But that same night, everything changes. A mysterious outbreak begins to spread. Sirens, explosions, a plane crashes. The infection spreads fast, throwing cities into chaos. Joel flees with Sarah and his brother, Tommy. During the escape, Sarah gets hurt, and Joel carries her in his arms. When they finally reach a soldier, instead of safety, they get a death sentence. Even without proof of infection, the orders are clear. No one gets out. A gunshot rings out. Tommy shows up just in time to save Joel, but too late to save Sarah. That night marks the end of an era, and the start of something else. Not just for the world, but for Joel, who loses everything that made him human in that moment. Holding his daughter. 2 decades have passed since everything fell apart. Now it's 2023, and this world no longer belongs to humans. The cordyceps pandemic has turned most of the population into grotesque, violent creatures. What's left of society is locked inside heavily militarized quarantine zones. The new top dog? Fedra, an agency that keeps order with an iron fist. But not everyone plays by their rules. On the other side, the Fireflies rise, a rebel group fighting for freedom and desperately searching for a cure. That's where we find Joel again. Now 56, he's hardened, emotionally shut down, and cut off from his past. He lives in Boston, running smuggling jobs and trading in the black market. Alongside his partner, Tess, he survives, but he's not living. Everything changes when they meet Ellie, a 14-year-old girl being kept under watch by the Fireflies. Marlene, the group's leader, offers Joel and Tess a job, get Ellie to a drop-off point outside the quarantine zone. In exchange, weapons and supplies. Sounds simple, but soon they discover what makes Ellie different. On the road, she reveals a secret. She was bitten by an infected weeks ago, and she's still alive. No symptoms, no change. Immune. The hope for a cure, once a far-off dream, now walks beside them in the form of a sarcastic, stubborn teenager with a spark in her eyes that even the end of the world couldn't dim. But how do you carry humanity's last hope across a landscape crawling with monsters, criminals, and nightmares, both human and not? Joel, hesitant at first, takes on the task. Maybe, just maybe, there's still something in him worth saving. Leaving Boston, Joel, Tess, and Ellie have to make their way through a ruined city crawling with infected. To save time, they cut through an old museum. That's where they face, for the first time, a threat far worse than the usual infected. The clickers, blind creatures with insanely sharp hearing, guided entirely by sound. The tension is suffocating. The fight is brutal. During the chaos, Ellie gets bitten again. And once more, nothing happens. No symptoms, no transformation. Her immunity starts to become real, undeniable, but the relief doesn't last long. When they reach the Capitol building, the scene is grim. All the Fireflies are dead. The mission seems doomed before it even begins. And that's when Tess reveals her own secret. She was bitten during the journey. But unlike Ellie, time is not on her side. With the infection spreading fast, Tess makes a gut-wrenching decision. She stays behind to buy them time. She begs Joel to take Ellie and go, no matter what. Her final words echo like a cry of humanity in a world swallowed by darkness. Save who you can save. As she holds off the infected with a final, sacrificial explosion, Joel and Ellie run. There's no turning back now. It's just the two of them, bound together by a mission that's about so much more than survival. After Tess's death, Joel decides to seek shelter with an old contact, Bill, a reclusive, paranoid survivalist who's meticulously prepared for the end of the world. But before Joel and Ellie get there, we're taken into a flashback that reveals one of the most touching stories of the entire season. Bill lives alone in his fortified town, protected by traps and fences. His only companion is solitude, until one day, Frank shows up, a starving man looking for help. Hesitant at first, Bill lets him in, and little by little, something changes. Suspicious in the beginning, Bill slowly opens up, both physically and emotionally. What grows between them is more than just a romance. It's a bond of trust in a world where trusting anyone feels like a luxury. Together, they build a life. They grow food, cook meals, fight, and love. They meet Tess and Joel, trade supplies, and form a quiet connection built on mutual respect. But time takes its toll. Years later, Frank becomes seriously ill. Unable to go on living in pain and dependency, he asks Bill for one last meal, and to let him go. Instead, Bill makes a different choice: to go with him. They die together in a decision that's as heartbreaking as it is beautiful. When Joel and Ellie finally arrive, they find the house empty but full of meaning. Bill left behind a letter and supplies for Joel, along with a clear message: some people are worth saving. This side story isn't just a pause in the action. It reinforces something that's starting to take shape. Ellie isn't just a mission. She's a chance, maybe Joel's last, to reconnect with something he thought was lost forever, maybe even with himself. As they make their way across the country, Joel and Ellie detour through Kansas City, where they're ambushed by raiders. The fight is brutal, and for the first time, Ellie is forced to shoot someone to save Joel. A harsh wake-up call. There's no room left for innocence. The city is controlled by a militia that overthrew the local Fedra. At the helm is Kathleen, a leader consumed by revenge. She's hunting Henry, a former Fedra collaborator who gave up her brother in exchange for medicine to save his own brother, Sam, a young boy with leukemia. Joel and Ellie find Henry and Sam in hiding, and the four of them decide to escape together through the city's underground tunnels. Tension runs high, but so does the growing bond, especially between Ellie and Sam, who is deaf and communicates through sign language. During their escape, the group is cornered by Kathleen's forces. But what erupts from beneath the ground changes everything. A massive horde of infected bursts through the earth, led by a bloater, a grotesque monster, deformed over years by the fungus. Chaos explodes. The militia is decimated. Joel protects Ellie from a distance. The four escape, but not without a price. That night, Sam quietly reveals to Ellie that he was bitten. Desperate, she cuts her own hand and presses her blood to his wound, hoping it might heal him. It doesn't. By morning, Sam has turned. He attacks Ellie, and Henry, with no other choice, shoots his own brother, then takes his own life in shock and despair. The silence that follows is crushing. Joel and Ellie bury the bodies. Ellie scribbles a single word on Sam's small writing board: "I'm sorry." They move on, more hurt, more hardened. Months after the tragedy in Kansas, Joel and Ellie finally reach Wyoming, where they find Joel's brother, Tommy, living in a thriving, well-organized community with his pregnant wife, Maria. Joel sees something there he thought was gone: peace, a future. But the calm around him doesn't match the storm inside. For the first time, Joel lets his guard down. He confesses to Tommy that he's having panic attacks, that he feels weak, and that he's terrified of failing again. He already lost a daughter, and now he's afraid of losing Ellie too. Joel asks Tommy to take Ellie to the Fireflies, but when Ellie finds out, she feels betrayed. She's lost too many people. The thought of Joel leaving, even if it's to protect her, is unbearable. They argue, but it's through this pain that their connection grows even stronger. The next morning, Joel gives her a choice, and Ellie chooses to stay with him. They continue their journey, now bound by something deeper. They discover the Fireflies have relocated to a hospital in Utah, but before they can get there, they're attacked by raiders. Joel kills one of them, but is badly wounded by a shard of glass or metal. Alone and terrified, Ellie drags Joel to an abandoned house. She doesn't know what to do. She's just a kid, but she tries, desperate to keep alive the one person she has left. Before the immunity, before Joel, there was Riley. While Joel lies wounded and barely hanging on, Ellie drifts into memory, taking us with her into one of the most delicate and emotional episodes of the series. We're taken back to the Boston quarantine zone, where Ellie, still a cadet under Fedra's rigid rule, lived a harsh and lonely life. The only person who made that world worth living in was Riley, her best friend, and maybe something more. Riley had disappeared, but that night she returns. She wants to give Ellie a gift, a night to remember that beauty still exists in the world. The two sneak off to an abandoned mall where they lose themselves in carousels, arcade games, and forgotten laughter. It's light. It's sweet. It's a breath of peace in the middle of chaos. But it's also a goodbye. Riley reveals she's leaving Boston, recruited by the Fireflies, ready to move on. The fun turns to frustration until they dance, reconcile, and kiss. For the first time, Ellie allows herself to feel something deeper. And just as that bond peaks, an infected attacks. Both girls are bitten. With no way out, they choose to wait for death together. But death doesn't come for Ellie. Riley isn't so lucky. That was the beginning of Ellie's pain, and the moment that changed everything. She was immune. It's that memory that drives her not to abandon Joel. Because she knows exactly what it means to lose someone you love. And she remembers what she promised Riley. Never waste the second chance she was given. While Joel lies unconscious, clinging to life, Ellie sets out to find food and help. Deep in the forest, she hunts a deer, and that's when she meets David, a man who seems kind, soft-spoken, and strangely calm for a world like this. But that calm is just a mask. David belongs to a group of survivors hiding a dark secret. They've been eating human flesh. And worse, he recognizes Ellie. He knows Joel killed one of his men. While trading the deer meat for penicillin, Ellie senses the danger and escapes to treat Joel. But she's eventually captured. Held in their camp, David tries to manipulate her, saying they're alike, that they both have a violent heart. But when Ellie refuses to join him, he shows his true face. He doesn't just want to kill her, he wants to break her. Ellie fights back. She sets the cabin on fire and, in the middle of the flames, faces David in a brutal showdown. She kills him in a moment of pure rage, desperation, and survival instinct. In that moment, she's not a child. She's a survivor. As she stumbles out of the burning cabin, in shock, Joel is there. Weak, but standing. He finds her, wraps her in his arms, and says, "It's okay, baby girl. I got you." It's more than comfort. It's confirmation. Joel now sees Ellie as his daughter. And Ellie, finally, lets herself be held. Joel and Ellie finally make it to the Fireflies hospital in Salt Lake City. But the reunion with Marlene, the leader of the rebel group, doesn't bring relief. It brings a heartbreaking dilemma. The doctors believe Ellie's immunity is connected to the fungus growing in her brain. To try and create a cure, they'll have to operate, and the surgery will kill her. When Joel hears this, something inside him snaps. He's already lost a daughter. He's not going to lose Ellie. Without hesitation, Joel springs into action. It's a surgical and emotional massacre. He kills soldiers, doctors, and finally, Marlene herself. He carries Ellie, unconscious from the anesthesia, in his arms, just like he did with Sarah 20 years ago. But this time, he doesn't lose. On the way back, Ellie wakes up. Groggy, she asks what happened, and Joel lies. He tells her the Fireflies had tried to create a cure before, without success. That there were others like her, and none of it worked. That the hospital was attacked. That they're safe now. But Ellie knows something's off. As they get close to Jackson, where Tommy lives, Ellie stops, looks at Joel, and asks, "Swear to me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true." Joel pauses, looks her in the eyes. "I swear." She stares at him for a long moment. Okay, end of the season. But that one word says everything. And that was the full recap of The Last of Us Season 1. If you cried, cheered, and felt your heart ache reliving all of this, get ready. Next Sunday, April 13th, the wait is finally over. Season 2 of The Last of Us premieres on Max, and it's set to take the drama, tension, and moral dilemmas we know so well to a whole new level.